let's look to Thursday night, tomorrow night. What is a win for Donald Trump?
A win is to go out, I think, and share his vision with the country. We're excited about that. I spent time with him this last week, and he's in a good place.
You give him any advice?
We all did, you know. Look, I've spent a lot of time with him. He's very engaging. He's in a great place. He's in a great mood because he's feeling the energy around the country, and we all are. Last week alone, Leland and I did events in 6 different states, nonstop campaign travels around the country, and it doesn't matter whether they're in a blue state or a swing district or a red state, it's all the same. People are fed up with the Biden administration and what they've done to the country, and they want change, and they're excited about President Trump getting another term. All
right. There's going to be, I think, you've said there's going to be some unfair questions on Thursday night during the debate. There's also going to be, I think, some fair questions. One of them, George Stephanopoulos laid out what he'd like to see as the first question. Take a listen.
What do you think is the most important question that needs to be answered from both candidates?
Who won the last election?
Yeah.
Very simple.
How would you advise Donald Trump to answer that?
Well, you know President Trump's answer. He doesn't think it was fair. He thinks there was a record number of anomalies and probably fraud. And, you know, some of those are objective truths. I mean, obviously, the COVID year election.
But he say that.
No, he shouldn't. I mean, what he should say is let's talk about the future and not the past. And that's what we all do. We can't relitigate what happened in 2020. But what happens and what matters is what happens in the next 4 years. We've got to fix every metric of public policy. They've made a disaster of all of it. And I said, as we travel around the country, we hear from people everywhere. They're fed up about the open border, the catastrophe that it is. They're fed up about the weakness that we're projecting.
So you want him to focus on that?
He's got all sorts of policies that he can talk about. And the interesting thing is here, these are 2 men who have actually been president, right? So disregard the rhetoric. Look at the records between these 2 men. We were all doing better under President Trump than we are President Biden. Every single American, and anybody who looks at it objectively has to come to that conclusion.
And the polling number shows that, right? That there is this large gap between the difference of people who say they were better off during Trump than Biden, and yet the polls nationally in terms of the head-to-head is tied. So there's a group of people who still have questions about Donald Trump. One thing that's going to come up certainly is the Supreme Court. Here's Nancy Pelosi with Anderson Cooper last night.
I mean, do you have confidence in the Supreme Court?
No, I think they've gone rogue. It's most unfortunate. But it's unfortunate further to see what the other justice, what happened to the Chief Justice? Did he go weak or did he go rogue?
Do you have any idea what she means by go rogue?
I don't. Look, we have 5 justices there, a conservative majority at least, who are doing the right thing. I think they're calling balls and strikes, as you would want justices to do. And Democrats don't like the outcome of some of these cases. But we put textualists and originalists on the court, and that's what you're going to get. I think they're doing a fine job.
All right. Some good news, I think, for you, in that is Jamal Bowman has lost his re-election bid in a primary. The fact that Democrats are now pushing out, and really resoundingly so, the most extreme parts and the anti-Israel parts of their party, in a weird way, is that bad for Republicans?
Well, no. I mean, we're glad to see members of the squad go down. It's a toxin to the system. It really is. And I think they tried to push that pendulum so far to the left that it's now beginning to swing back. I believe we're still a center-right country, and I think this election result is going to show that. And look, the fact that they've espoused all this anti-Semitic, these views, and loudly and with lots of profanity, by the way, in Jamal Bowman's case, it really resonates with the people. I was in New York all weekend campaigning with our candidates. That's a great place for us now. Republicans are going to perform very well in New York because the left went too far to the left, and they're looking for answers to all these great challenges facing the country, and our candidates are providing them.
Part of the challenge of getting these persuadable voters who are fed up with Joe Biden, but may not be okay with Donald Trump, perhaps they're okay with his policy, but not exactly okay with his personality, is going to be the pick of the vice president. Doug Burgum, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. Who do you think best helps Donald Trump get the persuadable center?
I don't know if I could pick a horse. I like all 3 of these gentlemen. They're all friends. They're all super talented. The good news about the Republican side is we have a deep bench. Unlike the Democrats, we have lots to choose from and a embarrassment of riches. I think any of those guys are bringing a lot to the ticket. And some of the other names that have been mentioned that are on the short list.
What about Nikki Haley?
Look, I'm a fan of Nikki Haley, but I don't think that she and Trump make a good team right now, according to him. That's all that matters.
Okay.
But she's very talented. I have a lot of respect for her.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.